Alright, you're watching Chad Barbell. Today, we're just getting started with a little bit of the rotator cuff stretch. This is what I start every workout out with because it's super necessary to keep your rotator cuffs healthy, mobile, etc. So, I remember when I found out about this, I was kind of like cracking my neck and adjusting things, rubbing my traps, and this dude comes by and he's like, "Hey man, I think you have rotator cuff problems at the gym." And so I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "Let me show you something." So he shows me these exercises. He's like, "This is what I do. I've never had an issue since." Now I see people and I do the exact same thing when I see them all winced out in pain, and I just go say, "Hey, is it your shoulder that hurts? Oh, what's the problem? Oh, it's bench. Oh, it's push-ups. Okay, well, here's what you do." It's rad. It's nice to pass on a little bit of knowledge. So that's what I'm doing to you. If you ever have a problem with your rotator cuff or your shoulder, just try that and see if it helps. All right, so moving along into overhead cable tricep extensions. This is going to target the long head of your tricep. So if you're looking at your arm in like a double bicep pose, it'll be on the very bottom. This is one of my favorite tricep exercises of all time. It just feels awesome. That's if you look at the grip, see, here's the thing. I don't know. Maybe I like to be different. If you look at the grip I'm using, the implement, I don't really ever see anyone use this. I see people using the rope. I friggin' hate the rope. You'll never catch me dead with the rope because it sucks. And you got to think about it too. It's just breeding with bacteria. I can only imagine what lives inside of a gym rope. So I just don't use it. Yeah, the grip sucks. It feels like shit in your hand. But this, solid. It's got these big stops at the end that prevent you from slipping. So that's why I use it. What am I trying to do when I'm actually going for these movements? Keeping my elbows locked. I'm keeping my back as straight as I can. And I'm leaning forward as much as it takes for that cable apparatus not to hit me in the back of the head. All right, we're getting into lat pull downs now. Some of the things you have to focus on for this movement is just driving your elbows down to the ground. You got to lean back a little bit, but not leaning back to drive with momentum. You're not actively leaning and pulling. You're just leaning back for more range of motion, basically. You're not using any momentum in your lean. It's just purely for range of motion and to get the movement feeling good and natural. Because if you weren't to lean back, then you're pulling down in an awkward way. It's almost as if you would be trying to stay completely vertical during a pull-up, which I don't even know if that's possible. So like 90-degree vertical, very unnatural feeling. So another thing I like to focus on when I'm doing this movement is my grip. So I have like a suicide type grip where my thumbs are over the bar, not under the bar. And this just allows a little bit more range of motion for me anyway. When you're going on the eccentric on this, I really let the weight pull me all the way up, get a good back stretch. Sometimes my back even cracks on the way up, which is really feels good. You basically want to get as much of a range of motion as you can on this exercise to get everything you can out of it. And what I like to do is I find if you start this with really high reps, like 20 or more reps, pick a weight that you can hit that with, and you'll really get a good burn. Some exercises I find, like say calf raises, for example, you actually benefit a lot more from low weight, high rep. Like a lot of exercises, you need heavy weight to kind of stimulate the muscle into growing, to tear it up enough. But I find with certain exercises, you need big reps. at the beginning, especially.
One step at a time, burning embers at my feet. You can't take me down. I goes I defeat, 'cause I'm cool and collected. 'Cause I'm cool and collected.
All right, we're doing the old horizontal cable row. Again, one of my favorite exercises. That's not true at all. I don't know why I said that. It lands right in the middle. It's decent, but it's not one of my favorites. I'm trying to build up the middle of my back. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm lacking a lot back there. There's almost nothing, it seems, in that trap area. I got big traps like on my neck, but in that middle back, there's not a whole lot. So another thing about the grips I use on this one, this isn't typical. Normally you see that little V handle or whatever. I always found it would hit my stomach. And so I started using these to kind of increase the range of motion and get around my stomach so I can really shove my elbows back. And when you're actually doing this movement, the thing that you should really be focusing on is pushing your shoulder blades together and driving your elbows back. And that's the only time you're ever really going to feel it. If you don't do that, you're wasting your time. It's kind of a hard movement for me to feel, actually, which is why I was surprised I even tried to lie to you. That's my favorite. It's hard for me to feel this one, so I don't like it that much. But anyway, that's the video. Like, share, subscribe. Come back tomorrow for more.